All right, we are going to do some data recovery. And we're at the beach today. Yay! I thought that was appropriate for data recovery, so we are going to do some data recovery at the beach. Let's get started. Let's pick our first board here and take a look at it. I want to make sure this stream is going. So let me click over here to YouTube and check it out. Let's move that down. There's some goddamn flies at the beach. All right, let's see. View channel live. Great. Let's get started. Close that down. Spoiler alert, saw this at Drive Saver. Ha ha ha. No, I have fixed it. I have added lots more beach. See, it's not just one beach. It's like 12 beaches. All right, so let's take a look at the first board. This is an iPhone 6S. Let's start with a note. And the note says, Kansas City, Kansas. Phone dead. Restore data. Okay. This one's an iPhone. Is it a 6S? Yeah, it's a 6S. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the board, shall we? All right, so let's take a look at this. Let's crank down the brightness a little bit so that we can see. All right, so this looks like some pretty classic looking water damage. There's water everywhere. Water everywhere here at the beach. A lot of frank corrosion. Now it's important to look at the spots on the board where the water went so that, hi Jessa from Bermuda Island. Ooh, I want to go to Bermuda Island. It's important to look to see, like audio IC is definitely going to have a bunch of shit under it. So before you put it in ultrasonic, to just kind of get a picture of where in the phone you can expect, like that looks like a cap that's not going to come back from ultrasonic. And down in the bottom of the board, there's water everywhere. So this one has some extensive water damage, little shield removal, whoopsie. All right, and up here, lots of water around backlight. And pretty much everywhere. So this entire board, I wonder if you could also blue screen the microscope. Well, don't we want to like look down the microscope? I don't really get it. All right, I'm going to drop this in ultrasonic while we look at a different board. Oh no, that beach doesn't go all the way to the floor. You can still see the lab in the back. All right. Anything for disabled iPads, restore and make it undisabled. All right, let's look at this other one here. This other one, I think I mixed up these notes. Rockville, Maryland. I know Rockville, Maryland. The great state of Maryland. Okay. All right, so we'll stick that over here. So let's look at this one. This one came in with like a seriously cracked screen, and the housing from it though, the housing doesn't look super bent. So it's just kind of smashed, maybe a slight bend there. All right. Jessa isn't in a swimsuit. No, I just went to the gym. I've finally gotten over, at least I think, my back injury from powerlifting over the last few months. I took a month off completely, and it has done wonders for back pains. Let's look at this board. This board, let's see. I don't see any signs of water so far. Now it does have something. Do you guys see that something's pink? Look at that. That's not normal. Now this pink, I don't know what that is on the board, but when I see pink, sometimes alarm bells go off because there's common pink like solder mask stuff that people put on boards when they do work on it, but I don't see any signs of flux. So maybe that is just, I don't know. I have no idea. Glitter, bubble gum, melted dum dum lollipop. Your guess is as good as mine. So that's just kind of like right around here, this area. Nothing going on over here. That's probably a normal artifact. No water, no water, no water. Looks good. Other side. All that looks pretty healthy. This is normal looking. Normal, 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 normal. Normal. All right, so let's start with this one while we are... Drugs. I'm not about drugs. What kind of... You think that this phone is on drugs? What? All right, let's see what happens to this iPhone. This is an iPhone 6. If we connect it to a DC power supply, maybe it'll just automatically work, and this one will be the easiest recovery ever. Cross your fingers. Let's see what happens. All right, so I'm going to connect my DC power supply cable, and it's 0 at before prompt to boot. That's normal. Now I'm going to prompt it to boot under the microscope. So let's just kind of prompt it to boot. And it is not normal. It goes straight to 0.83. So it has some kind of a short, which means it's probably going to get hot. So let's use the professional way to detect shorts. Oh yeah, it's hot right there. That is a hot PMIC. That's burning hot. Okay, so I feel a strong short. There's definitely some heat down by the PMIC area. So let's use freeze spray. The customer would say the screen wasn't damaged when I sent it. Nice try on that one. You know, damn USPS. Better replace my screen for free. iPhone 7 I have coming in run over by a car. That doesn't sound good. Buffer of death. What? I don't see any buffering. It looks healthy from over here. All right, so let's see. Okay. Cool enough. Let's put some freeze spray on it and see if we can figure out exactly what gets hot first. So it seems like it's going to be around the PMIC, and we're going to find out. Jessa, your stream's cutting in and out. I don't think I can do anything about that. There really shouldn't be a reason for that, you know, since we have this stellar internet here. Okay, so let me try and prompt it to boot down here. Which one of you guys is the 1v8? Not that one. I'd have to look it up probably. Which one is it? Oh, there you go. It's you. Is it you? All right, what I'm going to do for this, since I think the short will declare itself immediately, so I want to go dig up a dock so that I can just prompt it with a dock rather than try to flip the board over and see where it gets hot. So I need to grab a dock. I don't see a 6 dock laying around next to me. Oh geez, I don't see a 6 dock over here either. Who took all my 6 parts? Let's see. Is something in ready to recover stealing my 6 stuff? Is it? Is something over here? Nope. God damn it. Alright, I gotta go on a hunt for this. Who stole my 6 stuff? here to yell at, completely on my own. Oh, there we go. All right, let's check here. Come on, Six Docs, show yourself. There we go, I got one. Hooray! The internet pipe is clogged, says Dan the plumber. Well, Dan, why don't you just fix that for us? Sounds like you know what's what with plumbing problems. All right, we're gonna do this again. Jessa is floating through a bottle at the beach. Yes. All right, freeze spray is in the house. And now we'll prompt to boot with the dock. All right, so let's really kind of stare at that PMIC area and see if we can see something getting hot. Well, battery connector, stay on there, buddy. Okay, let's see what happens. All right, so we saw this cap right there got hot pretty immediately, so let's kind of drill in on that just because it's fun to see. Let's see it again. Play it again, Sam. All right, let's really stare right there at that cap. Let's get it away from the logo, right there. God damn it, stay on, battery connector. It doesn't like to stay on to an ice cold board like this. And neither does the dock, apparently. But it felt so, it was just an amazing moment today. I was pissed off all day long. And then I went to the gym and for the first time could do a regular squat without any back pain. At least not yet. I don't know what will happen tomorrow, but so far so good. Super, super happy about that. All right, let's crisp this up a little. Okay, so let's prompt to boot and see what happens. What happens is the goddamn battery connector came off. God damn it. Stay on. Flip upside down. I know you don't like it. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be okay. Doesn't like to stay on. There we go, prompt to boot. So we saw that immediately get hot. Right on this guy. So let's see, who are you, dude? You're killing the rainforest with the freeze spray. Does freeze spray come from the rainforest? What is it? What is this stuff anyway? Cold spray, 400 grams. Don't huff this can or you'll die. I could see that. May explode. Don't know what it is. Some kind of hydrophobic something. All right, let's see about that cap. That's great. What are you squatting, Jessa? I was squatting 205. That's what I had kind of worked up to. And then now, today, my first day back, I was just thrilled to be able to squat at all. Last time I did a squat, it was pain on the bar only, which I kind of like sucked it up. And then I did just, 95 pounds and I could only do one because it was so much fucking pain. Today I got in there after all this rest and I could do warm up and ended up being able to do 3 sets of 5 at 150, which I thought was good. All right, so let's look up and see what line is that cap on. I huff freeze spray on Friday afternoons. It works fine. Okay, let's go on a hunt. Let's go over to ZXW land and let's see whether or not screen is working, which I checked it earlier and it seemed that it was working, but let's find out. Yay, screen is working. So let's go to iPhone 6. Stream offline. Really? Seriously? I don't have any idea why. Let's see. Stream offline. Well, I'm gonna just fix this stuff. PP 1v8 SD RAM. 1v8 SD RAM. Alright. 1v8 SD RAM is either signature failure, this cap, or something seriously wrong. So we'll kick off that cap just from signature failures that says that that's what it sometimes is. So let's take a look. Let's go find that cap. All right, so this is one of those ones where you just kind of have to see a lot of phones and kind of know what tends to fail. This guy looks great. Doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it, but that tends to be the problem. I guess since the heat really showed up here, first in this phone, I will take off this guy. Now this cap, you see me take off caps all the time with the X-Acto knife. This cap I don't think is going to come off nicely with the X-Acto knife, but we'll see. Oh, it did. All right, let's ask him if he was a wire. Let's ask him, were you a wire? He says, no man, it wasn't me. You just fucked me for nothing. Your line is still as short as it was. All right. So that kind of takes us to the signature failure cap, which is this guy. And it's either going to be him or a big problem likely going to lead us to under the CPU and not solvable. So let's hope it's this guy. I sure hope it's this guy. All right, so let's go to low heat and try to clear out a little bit of the underfill there. All right. It's just New York. Yeah, New York internet sucks. It sounds like a lot of you guys are having just kind of stream problems, and you know, the dropped frames, 12%. Kind of a lot. 12% of these frames are dropped. Alright, so we're gonna just kick him off and cross your fingers. If it's not him, it's gonna be a great big problem that is very likely to be not solvable. So we're gonna really hope that it's this guy. All right, let's see. Let's ask him, are you a wire? Wake up. Wake up, multimeter. Yay! I hear a beep. Yay! Now let's go back and see if our short is now gone. All right, here's the money. Yay! Normal resistance on that line. All right, let's see if this phone will actually boot. All right, let's see. And just accelerates. Yay, wire cap. Everybody loves a good wire cap. All right, let's stick it back in his own housing here. Let's see if his screen works. That'd be kind of fun. All right, so this one. I'm gonna get it back together to test and see if it is no worse for the wear on a 1v8 SD RAM short or not. I think this is a good one that kind of goes to show that the thing that gets hot is not always the cause of the short. And honestly, the first time you see a short like this, where there's no way for you to know, hey, check the cap that I kicked off, other than the countless hours and hours and hours that you spend on these phones sometimes that kind of lead to taking every single thing off the line. I think the first phone that I saw a 1v8 SD RAM short on, I didn't suspect that beautiful looking cap, so I just went after the entire line, and it took forever. And then once it turns out to be, hey, look at that, it was a beautiful looking cap that didn't seem like it had any wrong. It didn't shit out a solder ball. It didn't have any sign whatsoever that it was not working. Let's try this guy's seriously cracked screen. Let's see what happens. All right. This week I want to do a live stream. I've got a couple live stream ideas. One is to do a YouTube experience with my friend Sarah South, who sent me a, for the sake of the phone 6, really just for us to figure out this live stream concept and kind of YouTube experience concept. And she is the VP at Ancestry.com. Oh, doesn't look good. Sucks. So this phone is not okay, having lived with a 1v8 SD RAM short, which sucks because the 1v8 SD RAM line is probably, when shorted, damaged the CPU. Maybe that's not true, but right now it is showing me, when I prompt it to boot, 70 milliamps, which is classic for, hey, CPU can't talk to anybody. But let's try that again and leave his screen off and just prompt it. Prompt. Come on, buddy. Start to boot. Let me try prompting it with USB. So it's just sitting there at 70 milliamp. Time to reboot your modem. Maybe so. I don't see why, but yep, so this is now a 70 milliamp phone. All right, let's go back and prompt it again. Prompt with USB. And this phone is pulling 0.06, which means that the CPU is not talking. It's like it's dead. So either it's not getting that 1v8 from the PMIC, that PMIC is actually damaged, or it is like fried on the CPU itself, because the CPU has got all kinds of 1v8 points. So let's check and see what our voltage is on that line. All right, let's check. Alrighty, let's check. I guess there's some chance that I have lifted that coil there while testing this out, but let's find out. Alright, I'm going to go to voltage mode. Maybe I should bite the bullet and get one of the on-screen USB multimeters. 1.8, so 1.8 SD RAM is being created by the PMIC, which means that, what else could cause that? I mean, it kind of sucks, but we're going to have to assume that the short on 1v8 could have damaged anybody else that's also on that line, and one of the chips on that line is Tristar, which tends to be prissy. So we're going to have to change Tristar just to sort of rule that out. So this one's now going to get a Tristar change, but before I do that, I am going to grab that other thing out of the ultrasonic. All right, so we're gonna let this other board, the 6S, dry off. Let me let that dry off over here. Okay, so now this one, we're going to do a Tristar change on the virtue of the fact that, let's follow this line, screen. So we had a short on 1v8 SD-RAM due to this cap here, and we are getting 1v8 voltage. So that tells us that the PMIC here is putting out the 1v8 SD-RAM voltage. So where does it go? It goes to Stockholm chip, it goes to audio IC, and then it goes all around the CPU area here to the SD-RAM. And then down here in the bottom of the phone, there it is at Tristar and Tigris. And then I believe it's also at backlight driver. Yes, so it's also at backlight driver. So that's pretty much it. Backlight driver, Tristar, and Tigris. So our theory here is that the short on the 1v8 SD-RAM, that high current consumption on that line due to the short actually damaged something else. And so what would it damage? It would damage a chip, since the voltage is actually there. So the chips that it could have damaged that are now no longer functioning as data generating chips are really Tristar and the CPU. You know, possibly backlight driver, and I really don't think it would be Tigris. So for this phone, now we're kind of like, you know, the chance that this is actually internal damage to the CPU is now really on our radar screen. But to rule that out, we need to change Tristar. Tristar is still a good candidate. If Tristar doesn't solve, then, you know, we can kick off backlight driver, and it'll probably be kind of pointing more to CPU damage itself. So let's go ahead and change our Tristar chip on this phone just to rule that out. All right, Tristar, did you get fucked by the short on 1v8 SD-RAM? Let's find out. So I'm going to stick this in the Find Fix board holder that I love, that I believe we sell. We do sell, I assume they're in stock on the iPad Rehab supply site. All right, so we'll slide this down. All right, and we'll go low heat and get rid of that, and we're just going to do a straight up Tristar job real quick. Dropped frames 8.4% now. That is not quite clear for me. Let's kind of sync up the microscope and what you guys are seeing. All right, there we go. Data recovery at the beach. Tristar. Who was it that said that? I like Tristar. Come on, Tristar. Be the problem. We want to be the change we want to see in the world. What I want to see in the world is Tristars that work great. We are going to make it happen. All right, let's go to normal desoldering temperature and get this sucker off. Which means we need a heat sink on our NAND, so I'll stick a quarter over here on the NAND. And flux. So today, the last 24 hours have been a tough time in the little old town of Honey Eye Falls. There was a flyer handed out last night by one of these kind of radical groups, the East Side Anti-Fascism Group, and they were doxing a guy in our community for going to the Charlottesville rally. And I really didn't know how to feel about that. There we go, that flew off. I really didn't know how to feel about that. It really kind of bothered me. You know, I kind of did a litmus test myself when I saw that flyer that said, you know, if you just kind of substituted the word neo-Nazi that was all over the thing with the word Jews, then how would it read? You know, kind of the idea of somebody walking around going, you should be aware there's, you know, insert somebody else here, Jews in the neighborhood, you know, or you should be aware there are people that hate cats in the neighborhood, you know, and I think that's, you know, I don't know how to feel about that. So my first thought was, and I've gotten in so much trouble for this today all over the place. My first thought was, A, is that really the right guy? Have you positively ID'd the right guy? And then B, if you have identified the right guy, and this guy actually went to the Charlottesville protest and stood with the hate groups that are there to, you know, protest the removal of the Robert E. Lee statue, did he do it as part of a hate group, or did he do it just kind of as a troll, or, you know, like, hey, my friends will never, wouldn't it be funny to post a selfie of myself at this place, ho ho ho. You know, you don't know if it was something like that either. And then C, and this is the important one, C is, what if this guy really did go to this rally and he really is a member of one of these organized hate groups? Is there any way that I can wrap my mind around a kind of a motivation to do that is anything other than just straight up hate? You know, yes or no? I didn't know the answer to that. So I thought that, you know, I see this, the community starts going nuts on social media about this flyer, and I felt strongly that that there was really only one thing to do, which is go talk to him. So I went and talked to him, which to me is a perfectly reasonable thing. I'm not going to judge somebody by proxy or based on somebody else's evidence. So seek evidence. So I went and talked to him, and smell his clothes, see if he smells like tiki torches. So I found this guy, and this guy lives 10 feet away from this shop, and so he was pretty easy to find. What I found was a really scared kid who, you know, has been, you know, who's kind of lost. And yes, he was a person who has spent a long time on the internet, kind of being attracted to the ideology there of some of these groups. And that just kind of, and he's a local kid. So what is it about our tiny little town that, like, we have generated a kid who is identifying as some of these hate groups? So I talked to him for a long time, and he was really open, and I appreciated that. And it was really an interesting thing. I was seeking to understand how do you get from, like, my son, who's 12 years old and about to go in 7th grade, to you. You know, he's a 21-year-old kid. And all right, let's get a new Tristar on there. And I've thought about it for a lot for this entire day, and honestly, I found him personally as an individual to be fairly reasonable. I don't think that guy really harbors hate. What I think is that he was kind of a lost soul, and he had hopelessness and despair, like people do that are drawn to these things. And I think that he was he was kind of recruited by a group of people to be kind of a pawn, where the problem with the ideology is that there can be kernels of it that are attractive to a young person that feels hopelessness and despair. But it comes with this whole pie of really, really awful stuff. And, I kind of then think, how do we prevent other kids from falling down the same road? And can this one person kind of be redeemed? While we wait, anyone want to speak their mind on politics or religion? Yes, please do. So I got completely trashed online for holding the opinion that we should talk to this person, as opposed to, flame, shun, give them middle finger, never, make it clear that we don't tolerate those viewpoints here, which we absolutely don't. But I'm more concerned about, how did you come to feel this way, and can we, there we go, and can you kind of become redeemed through support, mentoring stuff? It's kind of like parenting, where if you have a kid who hits their brother, do you spank them and say, that'll teach you not to hit your brother, must spank you? Or do you kind of try to build a bridge with an individual? I mean, I do believe in people very much, and I believe that persons are different than people. So what is this nonsense she's talking about? We're back at American History X. So I am, one of the things I wanted to do was, talk to this guy publicly. I thought this was iPad rehab, not The View. All right, we're waiting for this to cool. What do you want to talk about? So it was just amazing the amount of hate that's out there hating these guys. That's a lot of hate. And it just strikes me as so bizarre that a group of people that, come together in, to kind of point their fingers and say, we hate you because you hate other people. That doesn't seem like a solution at all. So I posted on the people that passed this flyer around that really, this was a really, they're inciting violence. That's not cool. It's not cool what he did. It's certainly not cool to go rally in Charlottesville. But it's also not cool to, try to fuck somebody up without talking to him. Kind of get to know this guy, and so now I've been accused of being an enabler and all sorts of things. But the worst was some guy posted that Child Protective Services needed to be called because I apparently am now an unfit parent. What the fuck? It's just wild, the amount of just intolerance all the way around. That's what scares me more than anything else. The idea that people can't talk to each other even when things are really, really scary. And that is a huge problem. I don't see that there's going to be a solution to living in a pressure cooker world without people being able to talk to each other. All right, let's test this. What beach are we at? I don't know. Let's see. It's just like how people watch these terrorist videos, follow them on social media, and then some join their groups to hurt people. Let's see. Follow anyone in the repair family and you get much the same. We're all a mix of technical and current events. Let's see if we have the same result. But anyway, rough day. Rough day. It's hard to, you know, it's just kind of sad to just even walk around outside here because everybody is so kind of up in arms and divided, and it just sucks. All right, so let's see what happens now. I'm going to prompt this sucker to boot. And it looks like it's exactly the same, 70 milliamps. So the only other thing I'm going to do with this one is to just kick off the backlight driver. And, you know, other than that, there's really not much that you can do here. If there is voltage on the SD RAM going to the CPU and it's not working. All right, so let's kick off backlight driver, which I doubt will make any difference, but it's just kind of like leaving no stone unturned here. Okay, I think I'll get back, put my board holder back on. The cat is taking up the entire window. What are you talking about? 6. Holy cat. What are you talking about? I should turn off notifications. I know that. All right, so let's find our way to the backlight driver, kick it off, and see if for some reason backlight driver, which also it communicates on those same data lines, could itself get out of here, fucking flies. Too many flies at the beach. I don't know about this beach idea. So there's a chance that backlight driver, which communicates on these same data lines, that if the backlight driver was somehow damaged from the 1v8 SD RAM short, that it could be scrambling communication on that line so that nobody can do anything. So let's take it off. All right, fine, you can get off too. All right, looks beautiful. Nothing looked like it was bridged or anything. Let's see if that made any difference by chance. All right, so we'll see. All right. Don't feed the troll. Instead of a Wagner heat gun challenge, do a hair dryer. I don't think hair dryers get that hot. I don't know what kind of fancy hair dryer you have, but the Rite Aid hair dryer that I have is not getting hot enough to melt solder. No way, no how. All right, so let's see what happens. All right, I'm going to prompt to boot. And it's hanging out at 140, but I think that's because the board is hot. So let's take it out of there. Take some of this heat away. Oh man, get a China hair dryer. Okay, I don't know about that. All right, so this is my last step on this board, and then I'm gonna switch over to the other board because it is getting kind of late. All right. A little bit warm. I need a hair dryer that melts metal. Not sure hair dryers are up for melting metal. But what do I know? All right, let's stick it back. That's why it's called a challenge. Sounds to me like fuckery. Sounds to me like a great way to fuck up a board. Let's go back to the beach. We need to relax today. Alrighty, let's see if there's a damn bit of difference. Prompt, prompt, prompt. 80 milliamps, so no difference whatsoever. The only other last remaining possibility is that this phone has put itself into DFU mode automatically. So let's find out if at 80 milliamps it can connect to iTunes in recovery mode, in which case it has a chance, now that the defect has been solved, for it to pass update. So let's find out. That's going to be it. All right, so let's see if iTunes can detect it. Let's see if iTunes can detect it or not. I've been working here all by myself for almost 2 weeks, and it totally sucks. So I'm really looking forward to getting back to kind of a normal schedule. Mark is going to be back in town. Both of those batteries are dead. This weekend, so excited for him to tackle the giant stack of long screw damage repairs that I've been putting in his pile. All right, so now I'm gonna, Jessa, you got the green screen. Ooh, sweatshop, I like it. I was thinking, this is today's green screen special is data recovery at the beach. All right, so I'm just gonna prompt it, and iTunes says, I detect a phone in recovery mode. Yay, that is a great reason. But it seemed a little fast, so let's see. That can be not true if it's that quick. Let's find out. Yeah, that's too fast. All right, so let's go check on our NAND power rails, because that sounded like fake recovery to me. But let's see. When you hear a quick recovery sound like that, that generally is not good news. All right, I'm going to check for NAND power. So let's stick it back on here. Flip it over. And prompt. And let's measure for NAND power. I've detected a phone in recovery mode. Yes, you have. All right, so let's see. Are we getting NAND 3 volts there? Yes. And are we getting 1 V8 here? We are. All right, so in that case, I will just say, fine. What happens if we try to update this phone via iTunes? So for that, I definitely need a good battery. And we will see if it can pass an update. So that now the current working theory is that this phone, we solved the underlying hardware problem, and now it is one of the other symptoms of, hey, I can't hear the CPU, is because the CPU doesn't know what to say. So he doesn't have any software anymore. And so we're going to ask to see if this phone can actually update the software. So let's find out. So I'm going to grab I'm hunting through for a battery that has charge. All right, 4.1, that's a charged battery with a dock. And I'm going to slide over to the data recovery computer where I'm going to ask it to restore or to update. Oh, here's that awful flyer right here. Okay. Let's connect it. And let's see what iTunes says over here. All right, so it's in DFU mode with update not being an option, so we'll have to do 3U tools to restore. And flash. All right, so that'll either work or not, and that'll be it for that one. Let's go to the other one and see if we can get a quick answer so that I can go home because it is super late. All right, it half works. She's gone. A shark got her. Ah! Well, I thought one of my ideas for tonight for green screen was like to be like the weather girl and be like, you know, there's a front moving in, and Sharon thought that was hilarious, especially if she threw water on me and stuff like that. I don't know how funny that is. She thought it was hilarious. Let's take a look at this now that it is done with ultrasonic and see how bad it is now. All right, so this one was the one that had just corrosion everywhere, and it sure does. It's got corrosion around this dude. He can cause problems sometimes. That, I think, is a little VCC main cap. There is shit here at backlight. Backlight cap looks bad. Let's test. Let's go on a hunt and look for shorts with a good old multimeter before we do anything else. All right. Here we go. It's the second one. How are you recovering data when you restore the phone? Don't you delete the data? Not if you... for a long time, there's been this ability to download the iTunes... that line is low. Downloads iTunes IPSW and then edit it to say, hey, don't erase the data when you restore. But that's really the exact same thing as doing an update. So if it can update, there's no need for that, in my opinion. But if it's one like this that's auto booting, fuzzy camera, I don't know about that. If it's auto booting to DFU, then that would be when you would use this. All right, so we're gonna slice off this. I think is a VCC main cap because there was a full short on that line. Still a full short on that line. So we are gonna hunt for other VCC main problems. Pretty sure, let's test actually. It's not a surprise. There's a lot of damage all over the place. So we'll have to just kind of go on hunt. All right, so that's on VCC main and it looks shitty. So we'll get rid of it. Wow, that was like practically not there at all. Let's go ahead and take off this dude. Let's do a little rehab on this not iPad. Lewis's suggestion when I asked him for green screen ideas was to actually make it be at a rehab. That was pretty funny. iPad rehab at rehab. Alright, so that guy's gone, and I remember there was some shield removal, I think, on this one, wasn't it? Yeah. We'll get rid of this baseband chip that is wiggly. Alright, now let's get rid of some of these dudes. Get rid of you. And get rid of him. And I'm just not 100% sure about that one either. Let's get rid of it. Let's leave nothing to chance. Alright, this guy looks ugly and I'm pretty sure he's VCC main. We'll get rid of this guy too. Alright, So now let's keep on going on a hunt. Let's check under here. Yeah, that looks like total shit under there. So let's take that off. What was just pulled off? A baseband chip and some dudes that he hangs out with, and some of his associates. Yeah, it looks like shit under there, doesn't it? Alright, we'll come back to that. Oh, a lot of this looks like shit. Alright, these two guys go bad a lot, so we'll knock off. These guys are on VCC main. So I'm pretty sure are on a VCC main short. Yeah, so we'll get rid of both of those guys. On our known bad guys. So just like the cap that we had on the last board. We're going to get rid of the guys that we know tend to harbor hate. Like that guy. Alright, let's take off audio IC because we predicted from the original presentation that audio IC was going to have a lot of corrosion. So we'll protect PMIC and we'll take off audio IC. Now a board in this condition where there's water around often has a chestnut, water under chestnut, but we'll see. Let's peek under it. Yeah, so there's a couple spots of corrosion under there. Goodbye, dear audio IC. Alright, there's a really ugly looking cap under there. Let's see if we can grab him out. Okay. Now we've got some ugly looking caps that we know are bad performers on VCC main over here. So let's check to make sure that we still have a VCC main short after all that. We do. Alright, so this guy here is a known bad guy. So let's go back down to low heat so that we can kind of clear out and try to wiggle him off. Alright, I need a board holder to hold it still while I wiggle that around. Alright, so we're just trying to clear out some underfill a little bit so that we can get some movement in here. Alright, now let's see if we can wiggle him out. I like the look of that chip quick. Got a number iPad rehab, can't find on store or in description. Chip quick 291. Oh geez, a lot of this shit's bad. Oh, peel up the PMIC. corner of the paint on the PMIC coming up. That is in there. Come on, bro. There we go, movement. Perfect. All right, let's head on down here. I'm gonna get some of this bracket out of the way because it looks like there's quite a bit of bad stuff going on down here. Let's cut the bracket. Could Apple just obliterate the board with overfill? I don't know the answer to that. I would think that it would certainly be a good idea if it didn't cause some kind of a heat problem. I think that would be really the only kind of concern, that these chips they get hot, so they have to kind of breathe. They have to expand and contract a little bit, and I'm not sure that every chip could be surrounded with the underfill or the overfill. I would think they would do that because they're definitely putting on more and more of it with every generation, and we are seeing better and better waterproofing. All right, so I'm just going to kind of cut and peel these brackets without bothering anybody underneath. And this is the area I really wanted to kind of get into. Sure, we can take the board out. You want to come out? Fine, you can come out and play. You don't want to be hemmed up in that thing anymore? Fine. Fine, fine, fine. All right. There, that is enough clearance to really get a good look. Get the middle section out. All right, so now what do we have? We have bad guy here. Let's take off this guy. Man, that looks horrible. Horrible. All right, now let's check. Do we still have a VCC main short? I'm not sure, 100% sure that that guy was on VCC main, but let's check. He probably was not. Let's go back and check where we know is VCC main. Up here. Yep, still full short on VCC main. All right, so let's take off. My plan here is to take off anything that really shouldn't be on the board with a VCC main problem. So in here, this one almost could go back in ultrasonic with now that the shields are removed. Oh, I'm concerned about the little EEPROM chip. All right, I'm going to look at ZXW and see what is VCC main in this area. All right, would freeze spray not work for this? Well, right now, I mean, eventually we'll do that, but I think that we're going to just take off things that really, I don't want to cause a problem. All right, let's see. What does ZXW have to say about this? Let's go on a hunt. Screen and go over here. This is an iPhone 6s. All right, and let's just click VCC main, and our interest, let's move you guys over here, is what in this section is VCC main. So this chip itself, there's 3 caps here, and then there's 2 caps there that are on VCC main. So let's go back with that knowledge, and we'll move the board around so it matches that same orientation. All right, so these 3 caps here, plus this chip, plus this guy. All right, so I will take off that chip. Alrighty. Well, I'm not a kid. I am 14, says J Killer. All right. I think if you're 14, you're still a kid. I just call a 21-year-old a kid. That is not hot enough to take that chip off. I was looking in the mirror across the room. I hate myself. Why? That's not good. Why do you hate yourself? Alright, let's get this dude off and all of his bad associates. Like you. And you. Oh, that was bad. And you. So much bad. And aren't you 1, 2, 3? I don't remember. Let me check back at ZXW real quick and see. Move over that chat. Yep. Okay, so not him. Alright, so we got all of those. Alrighty. Do we still have a short on main? Let's find out. Probably so, because it's probably going to be around Tristar or Tigris area. Alright, let's see. Yep, alright, so we still have work to do. Now, we do need to have baseband power management chip present on the 6S, so we're going to kind of leave that for now. And let's click over at ZXW tool here. I think that we should get rid of this speaker amp, and then we'll head down to the bottom of the board. After that, we will inject to see what the deal is here. Alright, so let's head down to the bottom of the board. Alrighty, let's take off this guy. He didn't look too bad underneath. That at least gives you some hope. Alright, now let's go down here where there's going to be a ton of VCC main around here. Alright, let's try to get some more bracket off. Ooh, that's a hot board. Hot potato. Hot, hot, hot. Hot. That's hot. get rid of this guy. It's not supposed to be there. That guy is too ugly. Alright. Let's see what's going on in chat. Oof. Sales good ones, the best you can get. It's a Baku. Here doesn't sales good ones. Baku, that's a shame. Baku makes me want to cry. Come on, bracket. Now wiggle. Wiggle yourself off. There you go, buddy. Let's cut that. This is like the Baku of cutters right here, that's for sure. Okay. Get that guy out of here. Alright, what do we have left? Not a lot. Alright, so here we are at the bottom of the board where there is a lot of VCC main around, mostly Tigris and Associates. So let's check on exactly. PB Henry's gonna go lift before he gets too tired. Gotta go lift, bro. Gotta go lift, bro. Yeah, I got a new trainer, so I'm super excited. So I'm learning a bunch of new lifts that I haven't been doing. My friend Adrian has been working with these guys, so I'm super excited about that. And let's go check out the bottom of the board all the way down. All right, so what do we have here? We've got Tigris, we've got the MOSFET, two little caps next to it, and then this speaker amp and that one cap. So let's see. Let's go back. Let's go back to, I really want to be back at the beach. God damn it. Alright, so we're going to take off ugly old speaker amp. Well, that's a bad looking cap there, even though it's not on VCC main. Damn. That is an ugly, broken ass piece of shit looking cap. Alright, let's get rid of bad guys here. Now this is definitely charger damage. You do not get this much of VCC main damage if you didn't stick this phone on the charger for a long time. Goodbye. Goodbye, sweet board. And I just can't stand to look at that guy. Gots to go. Gots to go. Alright, now this is undoubtedly where the problem is going to be. Just because it's a hotspot, it's the charging IC, it gets 5 volts USB, it gets 3.8 battery, and it has VCC main, so it's a power chip. Alright, let's see. I lift my fork to my mouth. It's all about the gains, bro. That's pretty funny. Jessa, next green screen from dental surgery with a dental chair in the back. I thought about a hospital one. Alright, wake it up on the multimeter. The chip quick flux looks like corn syrup. I can see that. I would much rather work with something that when you look at it, you think corn syrup rather than semen. Gross. All right. Let's still have a full short on VCC main. I really would be stunned if it's not like shit under Tigris, so I think we'll commit to jumping the MOSFET and taking him off. So Tigris is going to be required for boot, so we will do that before injecting any kind of heat. Ooh. What? Yeah, there we go. Look at those burned up piece of shit pads. Now let's take off this guy and then we'll just jump him to leave him off as a variable. He's all torn up as well. Okay. So, oh man, Amtech smells the best. Well, if you are going on what your stuff smells like, I guess that would be true. Oh man, okay. Oh, so let's clean that up and see if we still have a main short. And if we do, then we're gonna have to use heat to find it. Because we have done all that we can with voting the bad guys off the island. The ones that we really don't need. And some of the ones we do. Those are some corroded pads right there. We will skip the unnecessary braiding and clean it up, and let's see if we still have a short. If we do, then we might as well go hunt down the short before trying to rebuild this board. Let's just make sure we don't have a guy talking to somebody he's not supposed to. We are chasing a short. Yes, we have a VCC main short as a primary problem. We don't know if there's anything else also wrong with this. This is an iPhone 6s that appears to have already been at this beautiful beach, or that beautiful beach. I don't really know. All right, so repeat the information you were talking about, the data recovery from a phone which is in recovery mode. I don't know what you're talking about. You can rewind. Let's see whether or not we have a VCC main short. I mean, none of that really matters. Those things are almost never gonna come back okay. All right, everybody tries all the time. You know, percent of success is maybe 5 or 10%. All right, do we still have a VCC main short? Let's find out. Tell us about yourself, VCC main. We do. All right, so now it's time for heat. So we will, actually these guys up here are quite often to blame. Let's just clean it out a little bit to make sure we don't have just a piece of corrosion bothering anything. All right, so let's solder a wire. And where's my wire? I just saw that earlier tonight. Oh man. Going to the gym before stream makes you really tired. I've done a bunch of jobs. So does working by yourself in a shop of 7 all by yourself. Everybody went on vacation the same time. All right. I have an iPhone 6 Plus that's water damaged and works perfectly. Should I give it an alcohol bath? No. Then that's a great way to make a working perfectly phone. You got shit held on by spit. Either that or water never hit the board. So if water never hit the board, then you don't need to worry about it. If water did hit the board, then you have stuff, you have stuff that's held on there that looks like, that looks like some of these guys. Like these resistors and stuff. What do you think is going to happen if you scrub them with alcohol? They're going to come off, and then you're going to have a board that doesn't work anymore. So, no. All right. Let's find a good spot at the top of the board to plug in. All right, so we will take the board side of that dude there and see what happens. Oh, there's one more spot that tends to get VCC. A lot of places on the 6S get main shorts. A lot of them do. It's just how they roll. All right, I'm going to tin the other end of my wire. And then we're going to burn, baby, burn. I can tell right now that I'm too tired to clean this whole station up. So it's not happening. Alright, so I've got my wire tinned. And let's see if it works. So we're going to just see whether or not this short will declare itself on the DC power supply. So I'm going to hook one end of my wire there that's on VCC main to a red probe. And I'm just going to inject battery voltage. So let's connect the red probe. Wow, these alligator clamps are quite shitty. Right now I'm going to touch the black probe to any ground and check. Yep, on the DC power supply I see a big ass short. So now what we can do is we can freeze this board down. It'll have a lot of flux on it, so it probably won't work as well. And see if we can find a hot spot. Where is a hot spot? All right, so I have red wire connected. I'm going to touch black. Hello. He says, me. And I've seen him before. VCC main shorts on 6S. I've seen it be him before. Probably should have taken him off on our first pass. That would just be an oversight. Ready to go and touch ground. That dude, wow, he's like practically smoking. Damn. Okay, so let's kick him off and see if that's something else. All right. Whoa, what? Won't be telling Lewis what? What are you guys talking about? Let's roll back. VCC main short story. Yes, exactly. Fixing some prior repair attempt. All right. Okay. Let's kick off that ugly looking dude. Where are you at? Forgot about you, bro. You're so tiny. Can't believe I overlooked your ugly ass. Fuck you. Get off my board. Alright, let's see. Do we still have a VCC main short? Yes or no? Let's find out. Can't tell, too much flux. Let's find a different spot. Let's test down here on the Tigris caps. Oh, great. The answer, kind of. So our diode mode resistance right now is 0.15 when it should be 0.3. So that's going to make it difficult to find out what else. Yeah, that's probably too low to actually boot. All right. Let's see. Let's just see what happens if we, since it's already here, what happens if we hook up our DC power supply back to our main line, which is now partially short. All right, so it's got a leak of about 60 milliamps, 50 milliamps. All right, I think for now, let's put back on Tigris and see if it can live with that much short. Otherwise, we have to, really go on a hunt. And we really have already taken off a lot of mains. There's not a lot left that we don't, kind of really need. All right, so let's get rid of this. All right. We might want to stick it back through ultrasonic at this point. Okay, let's get back on a Tigris. Oh, I hope there's a Tigris up here. I don't want to have to go on any kind of Tigris hunt. Are you Tigrises? You look like you're a Tigris. Are you? Are you going to be good to me and just be a Tigris? I only need the one. Are you Tigris? I think you are. All right, let's see. How dare that person not take the blow of the iPhone 6s Plus to save it? I don't know what you're talking about. All right. All right, just checking to make sure that my dot is in the right place. Let's move that. So I'm checking on my orientation to find the A1 position, and we are correct. So we're gonna give it a go. On our beautiful unbraided pads, get this guy to go back on. All right. I wonder what happened to this phone. This is a lot of damage. I wonder if it went in. I wonder if it actually went into the ocean, because it seems like it did. This is a lot of damage. All right, now we need a little jumper across the MOSFET that connects battery, VCC, and VCC main. So let's go find exactly what we need to do to make sure that we don't fuck it up. Move over, chat. So this guy right here, so we have VCC main and battery. They have to talk to each other. And then we've got a gate that goes to Tigris that controls it. So we're going to say, forget about controlling it. Why don't you guys just talk to each other all the time? So we can run a wire here or here. As long as we connect these two rows and not A1, we'll be good to go. So let's go back over here. I try to be a responsible business person and bulk up an order so I don't waste money on shipping every day. And they have misrouted the package. Fuck you, universe. Not exactly what he said, but that's what he meant. So we'll help him out. All right, let's get a wire. And some mini hot tweezers. Where do we 3v2m begin? I don't understand that. Let's see. I'm streaming. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Let's connect up these little puppies. There we go. Connect. Connect, connect, connect. All right, let's see if there's, by some miracle, a chance that we can actually boot a 6S despite having half of the normal resistance that it should have on VCC main. Actually, now that the board has kind of come to room temperature, let's check it again and see see exactly what the details are of this short. Let's find out. All right, so let's pick a nice spot. I guess we'll just stick with one of these caps. All right. You had a 60 milliamp leak. That's kind of a lot. But let's see, what are you now? Oh, now you're even worse. Great. 0.134. 0.134 doesn't really bode well for the old VCC main. So we'll see what happens. Hey Jess, you ever have a problem with ZXW when it comes to small components like resistors or caps, or even IC placement being different or not there? Sure. I mean, don't ever get fooled. The schematic is always the go-to. The ZXW is an interpretation of the schematic, and it's wrong a lot. All right, let's do this. You cannot live by ZXW alone. Let's go back to the beach. Yay! Back to the beach. All right. Well, the galaxies are all going to be all over the place. There's like with ZXW and the Galaxy phones, you just kind of have to try to map different areas of the circuit. None of those are going to match ever. There's like a shit ton of different galaxies. All the different galaxies are going to be a little bit different from each other. And so if you're looking at like charging circuit, you might be able to find charging chip, and maybe it's over here on one and over there on another. But it's going to be a lot more work for sure. Faux shizzle. All right, yep, so we have a 50 milliamp leak on VCC main, and let's see what happens if we try to prompt it to boot. Let's just prompt it to boot through USB. It doesn't respond to prompt to boot at all whatsoever. which probably means something's disconnected. Let's find out what. Let's see about this dock. All right. That dock doesn't want to go in there. That dock doesn't like that dock hole. Nobody likes a funky dock hole. Probably has some kind of dock hole disease. Get in there and stay in there, you piece of shit. All right. VCC main leak. Stop that. All right. Time to edit the battery connector. It can't handle this. Oh, yeah, that's too far gone. So we will, these are the least shitty of all of the ones that are out there. All right, but we're gonna have to help this guy do right again, as usual. All right, let's try and make this quick and just get it on here enough for today. Get rid of that shit. Bend it around a little bit. Give me some wires. Come on. Oh, it's a little bit short now. Just give me enough for a test, because I don't really want to do a repair of tools right now. I want to go home and go to bed. So if you could help me out there, little connector, that would be great. That would be fantastic. Just stick on there enough. Just for a little test. Can you do that for me? You can't? All right, let's get rid of that. Get off my tweezers, you piece of shit. All right. Ugly, but not touching the other guy. And that's all that matters. Okay, so let's see what happens now. Plug you back in. All right, so we're back to our 50 milliamp leak, and let's try that prompt to boot again. Prompt, prompt, prompt. This time it's receiving the prompt to boot, and it's moving around a little bit, but it seems to be kind of boot looping or clicking back down to 0. I don't think it's going to be able to boot with that, with a 50 milliamp leak. Let's see, is anything getting hot? Because now it's going to be hard to find what else on VCC main. Just a ground pads under some chip I don't know. 6SIC. I have no idea what chip that is. You have to tell me. I think of chips like this: Mason, Chestnut, whatever the schematic calls them. I don't memorize the numbers. I don't memorize the numbers. No idea what you're talking about. All right, so DC power supply is going from like the 0.5 leak, and it's going up to like 0.13, 0.22, and then it's going back to that 0.15 leak. Let's see if it's actually trying to make an Apple logo when it does that. Not that it matters, but just kind of for fun. All right. Because now we have to kind of put out our fire. We have to get VCC main up to normal resistance really to move on, and now it's going to be pretty tough because we have already addressed the majority of VCC main really bad looking dudes, and there's a lot of dudes on the whole line that kind of look bad. All right. Are you trying to make an Apple logo or no? All right, no. All right, so that, means on my radar screen next would be, I would do more of the kind of, looking at the board again, and chestnut would be on my radar screen, and stuff like that. But honestly, it is 2:46 in the morning, and I think that is going to be my stopping point. Chestnuts on my radar screen. I don't think that heat is going to show us anything else. Taking off this bracket, there's a couple guys that are under here. There's some guys under here. There's definitely a guy right here that is kind of notorious. That guy. Backlight itself, that whole backlight circuit, there's a lot of destruction. So this board still needs quite a bit of work. I mean, look at how much damage there was to VCC main, just black, black, black everywhere. So that, I think, oh, you can't even see that. So it's 3, and I'm tired, and this was kind of a tough day. So I think I'm going to end this stream here. And I don't think we recovered anything at the beach. I think that I recovered one before I started that was easy, and I'm pretty sure the next one in the queue is easy, but these two are not easy. This one, most VCC mains, you can drill down on them eventually, but this one is something that would be better for me to do after a good night of sleep. So that is all for now, and I will see you guys next time.